There's multiple times within Jujutsu Kaisen where Todo goes into his imagination, he goes into his brain, he goes into his thinking in the middle of a battle, and it happens within split seconds, milliseconds, 0.01 milliseconds. So it's like faster than the speed of light, yet for him, it feels as if it is taking hours or something like that, or minutes or whatever it may be, whenever he goes into this thinking pattern of like figuring out like, oh, Itadori and I, we were brothers forever, and like he goes through this whole past experience. Or when he's fighting Hanima and he goes and sees his idol and has this conversation like about his cursed energy. It happens in a split second. And this channel also, if you aren't already subscribed, it's dedicated to helping you improve yourself by using anime references so that you can live a life more fulfilling in ways that you want to, so you can talk to women, you can have conversations. You don't just have to be the weeb sitting in your mom's basement watching cartoons all the time. Nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want to do, awesome, keep doing it. Yet if you want to have a combination and a balance between both worlds where you can go out and still like talk with different people about different topics and be interested, then that's what this channel is all for. So having the understanding that Todo can go into his mind just as any of us can do. And I'll give you an analogy for this as well too. So like, let's imagine that you dream every night, because I dream every night. I love dreaming. It's fantastic. I have a dream journal. I have one on my computer that I've been doing for the past year almost at this point in time. And up until that point, I would always just like randomly write down my dreams that I remembered in like other journals, other places, just for the fun of it. Like, it's just something that I enjoy doing. And when you're dreaming, you have no concept of time. At least that is how it is for me. It might be that same way for you as well too. In your dreams, you have this understanding that like you can go from point A to point B, or you can go from point A to point C, or you can go from point C to point F, and then back to point A. And it's like there's no real concept of time within your dreams. Like the other night, I was having a dream, and this will tie back into Todo and how you can use your imagination or your mind to help you overcome like any sort of like thought pattern that you may have and help you get more done in those split seconds. But I first had to give this analogy because I feel like this is going to make more sense to people that do dream, such as yourself, compared to somebody that's just like, if I gave this analogy into the world that we're in right now, it might not necessarily make as much sense. So I had this dream a couple nights ago where I was at a restaurant or something along those lines, and I was talking with some people, and then all of a sudden I was like, hey, I need to go here, and then I had to go back behind these curtains, and then the curtains like was with this girl, and she's like, hey, we're going to a different dimension. I was like, okay, like cool, that's what's up. And then I was like, we have to hide behind this curtain for a minute because somebody else came in to set up the table and they didn't see us. And I was like, this is interesting. How did this person not see us? But it's just like, okay, that's cool, because we were trying to like kind of hide but also be there at the exact same time. But like all of this was happening in my dream, and it felt like it was happening over hours of like my life. And yet then at another point, then we jumped into the car, and then we were driving the car away, and I was like, hey, we got to get away real quick because there's this guy with this hood and we have to like get away from this person really fast. And then as I was walking out beforehand, like I handed like a gift to my grandma or something like that. I was like, oh, this is for you. And she's like, oh, thank you. And I was like, yeah, no problem. And then I saw somebody else smoking, and I was like, hey, can I have a cig? And they're like, yeah, here you go, here's your cig. And I was like, all this happened within just a single dream that I had in one single night. And there's multiple other different dreams throughout that whole night. But this is where I want to say, like, our minds can process so much information in a matter of seconds. Like, I don't know if you've ever been like the flow state. You don't have to necessarily use that word, but like, if you've ever been like exercising, biking, walking, hiking at the gym, talking with people, listening to this video right now or something like that, or watching a movie, and you get so into that said movie, and then all of a sudden, or that said show or that said video or whatever it is, that exercise that you're doing, and you lose all concept of time. And it's like, it could have been hours that passed, but for you, it only felt like moments, because like you went into your brain, and your brain has this capability. It's like, it's one of the most powerful computers that you've ever been given to us, because everything is just externally put out, because everything starts within us first, and then it has to go outside of us, which we can talk about that on another day if you'd like to. A big portion of what Todo's able to do is he noticed that his brain is incredibly powerful, and he's able to go in and analyze like his components, his battles, like what's going to be the best strategy, what's going to be the best tactic. And you probably had experiences in your life where you've had to make split-second decisions. Maybe it's when you're driving on the road and all of a sudden you see somebody that like veers off and cuts you off, and it's like you make the decision like that. I try to snap my fingers, but you make the decision as quickly as you possibly can to avoid the said collision. A lot of the times we aren't able to process the same millisecondly. We'll say millisecondly. The millisecondly is such a good word. That's such a great word. You won't be able to process it in the same ways that he does, but your brain is doing all those combinations, all those computations, all of those computing powers by firing neurons from one another to another to another to another in milliseconds. So you're able to make a split-second decision in a matter of seconds. Yet we don't get the same grasp that Todo does when he's about to like get eaten by all the swarms of like the plants that are coming to him. We see this whole scene that takes maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute or so, like in the anime, but to him, it was like a matter of seconds. This happens over and over and over again throughout our life, throughout our experience, is we have the capabilities to like either speed up time or slow down time, because this is going to sound a little outrageous to maybe some of you. If not, like I know that the one person that needs to hear this right now is going to hear it, and that very well is you, because you're the one that's listening to this, which is fantastic, and I appreciate you doing that, by the way. So thank you, and if you want to do more like and have a deeper understanding of certain ideas and or more personal tailored approach, then book the call down below in the description, and we'll do like a 30-minute call to see if I can help you out in any way, shape, or form. If not, like no worries, but I figure we might as well figure out if we jive at all or not. And by being able to identify that like you have this innate gift within you that you can unlock, and you can start to see things in different ways that you had ever seen them beforehand, you do start to level up. You do start to become stronger, because a lot of the fights and the battles, and this can also relate to Itadori too by using Black Flashes, he has to be so concentrated on that said moment that his brains and neurons are firing so fast that it brings him right into the specific present moment by increasing his level of focus. So what Toto does, it's what you do, it's what everybody does. When you're in the zone, you have this intense level of focus, and you go back into your mind and you think about it, and it's like, wow, I just had this whole, like I ran through 100 different scenarios all in one go, and now all of a sudden like I know exactly what I need to do. But to the outside world, somebody looking at you on the outside can be like, oh, he changed his curse energy from like super strong to like non-existent, and he did it in a matter of like a split second, millisecond, and a split microsecond, I would say, because it's not, millisecond would be 1 after 1 second, and then 0.001 would be a nanosecond, I believe. So he did it in a nanosecond, but like to him, it was longer, like I was saying. So this is where I say time is a construct that we as humans have developed over the years, and you can go into your brain and you can experience things a lot faster than like it will happen on the outside of you, because the outside of you there's things that have to happen, but on the inside, you can have these different experiences. You can have this different way of thinking. You can process data. You can process information. You can process words. You can process things a lot quicker. And the best way that I would recommend to do this is the way that I have done it as well, too. Like when you watch this video, when you watch any video, when you watch any sort of information or listen to a conversation, or you watch a movie or a TV show, don't analyze the words. Like, don't analyze them. Like, don't try to identify what the words are saying. Don't try to identify the meaning of the words. Don't try to do any of that. Just listen. Just listen to the words that are happening. It's kind of like we're a kid. And I'll wrap up the video after I get this little last point in, because this just kind of came to me as I was giving this analogy, which is great, because the only time that we ever have is this present moment. Like, that's all that exists. So as a kid, we don't, at least I didn't, I have a feeling that you didn't either, we aren't trying to analyze like what our parents are telling to us, like when we're learning a new language, or when we're watching maybe a TV show, or when we're playing a game. Like, we aren't trying to like analyze each and every little bit. We're just like listening. We're just observing. We're paying attention to the noises around us, to the sounds that are being made, to the constant, I don't want to say constant, but to the overarching like theme that is being presented to us on a daily basis, where it's just like your parents can be like, this is milk. Say milk. And it's like, rah, rah, rah. And then they do it again and again and again and again. And then eventually you get it as milk, or mom or dad or pa or ma, or whatever it is that you end up needing to learn in that said time. And it's why we have to be reminded a lot more than we have to be taught, because we seem to forget certain things. I know that I myself have forgotten that as well too, because we always go back and forth of like, oh, this happened, oh, we're here. And that's why I'm such a big proponent of like being able to have those split second experiences within your own mind. And they happen to me all the time, and I'm hoping they'll happen to you after you watch this video. And you can always come back to it if you need to rewatch it and re-listen to some certain aspects. I know I've done that with other content creators or videos or people that I've found online that I found interesting. And by doing so, it's like I can tap into these different worlds. I can have different experiences. I can be like, okay, in a split second, like let's say I'm going down a hill on a snowboard or something like that. It's like, okay, like I have two paths. I can go right or I can go left. I don't know where, like I have to decide right now. All right, we're going right. It's like, but like in my mind, like there's probably, I have a different way of thinking and doing things. But like in my mind, there's all these different scenarios and paths and areas that I was writing down. It's like, okay, yeah, this is the right way to go. So this is the way that I'm going to go. I do it in conversations a lot. Like if you do book the call, like I was talking about a minute ago, you might see that firsthand where like I'll have to wait a second, or it's just like, all right, what path are we going to be taking? Because for you to have this unique experience that I'm offering to you right now is I have to figure out what path we're going to go at. Because let's say we both want to get up to the top of the mountain. I've already gone to the top of the mountain. I've gone to multiple tops of the mountains and with other people as well too. So I just want to guide you to be able to be at the top of the mountain, kind of like Toto guides Itadori to be able to become stronger, because all of us, at least this is my take, is it's better to be strong than it's better to be weak. And sometimes strength comes from being vulnerable. Sometimes strength comes from doing hard things. It really just kind of depends on what works best for you. And I can only tailor those experiences to you directly by offering these types of like services basically to help you out. So when you're at the bottom of the mountain, like if you do end up booking a call, basically what we would do is like, we'll start at the bottom of the base and figure out like, okay, what place do you want to be? Do you want to be able to talk to a girl? Do you want to be able to watch less anime? Do you want to be able to educate yourself more? Do you want to become healthier? Do you want to understand your finances? Do you want to understand how to communicate better? Do you want to understand how to open up, like start investing? Like what is it? Do you want to understand how to get promotions at work? Do you want to understand how to create content? Like what is the thing that you want to do? And it can be anything else other than that. Do you want to learn how to manifest? Do you want to learn how to use your imagination? Do you want to learn how to meditate? Like, what area do you want to do most? And we can focus on getting you up there in the quickest way possible. But that's where I talk about, like, when we're at the base of the mountain, we can have a right path, we can have a left path, we can have a straight path, we can have a path slightly to our left adjacent to the right, slightly up. But, like, we have to do those things. And that's where I go into my mind, and I have to make those, like, split nanosecond decisions by being able to have that conversation with you to figure out, like, the path that you need to go. Because I think I've talked about this before as well, but I'll just touch on it very briefly for this brief second, is everything is energy. Everything has that cursed energy. Some people can see it. It's why the jiu-jitsu sorcerers have a very minuscule amount of students, because there are a very minuscule amount of people that actually have this gift. Everybody does have a gift, but everybody's gift is different. Some gifts are better. Some gifts aren't as, I mean, every gift is great, but like some, you might think that, oh, my gift isn't great, but like your gift is the exact gift that you need to be given so that you could move up to the same level. Because like the sorcerers, they don't complain or compare themselves to other people. It's just like, oh, you're strong. Okay, I'm going to be strong. Like Megumi telling that to Itadori after the battles, it's like, you really have gotten stronger. He's like, I'm going to get stronger now too. It's the same thing that we see in My Hero Academia with Deku and Bakugo. Like there's this camaraderie, but it's also like a competition, but it's also not. It's a very fun, fascinating concept, and I hope that you can explore that a little bit more. You can do it on your own, or you can do it with me. It just really depends on, I want to take the slow route or you want to take the fast route, because I am you. I've been in your exact shoes. I understand how it can be being lonely, sad. I don't want to say depressed, but like just having not sure on the direction of what you're doing, so you're just using escapism. And I'm not saying all anime is escapism. Sometimes it's nice just to be entertained from time to time. But if you want to learn and figure out how to make those split-second decisions, I can help you out doing that, because like I was saying, when we have those conversations in the first time, sometimes it might work, sometimes it might not work, but you'll see me and be like, yeah, we'll go this way, and then we'll go this way, because it takes like a second. And obviously that was longer time than Toto used, but nonetheless, we do have this capability to go within our brain to process these things, because we have so many neurons in our brain. It's more than like the stars in the galaxy. It's crazy, it's fascinating, and yet somehow we're able to do these types of things. So letting go of that irrational thinking and going to the irrational mind is the best way that I have been able to grow.